And we're live.
I really hope this stuff doesn't go out live that you say before that.
And here we are, happy people. I'm coming to you live from 150 miles from the Arctic Circle. I have my curtain pulled because even though it's 7:30 in the morning here, even at 3:30, it was bright sunlight out. I took the dog for a walk, and that's just how it is here. 73 straight days of sunlight.
Ooh, ooh, you're seeing 24 hours a day sunlight?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no, 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 no. Homie can't do that. No, homie's not doing that. So, Craig, it's been a while since we've done this. 3 weeks, I think. BEA, Book Expo America, New York. I had an unexpected thing where I had to go back to Texas and get a house prepared to sell. So I'm hoping we close that here in the next couple of days, Monday, Tuesday, and then that'll be one less house to worry about. Yay!
Yep, yep.
Um, Going from there, it's my mind's a little bit weird because of all these changes. I haven't been really in it as much as I can, so I've had to ask people such as yourself, "Hey, I'll be around. Let me know if there's a real problem. Otherwise, I'll be around."
No, same here. My dad has been in town for his 83rd birthday, and we went fishing. I shared a picture of that. We had fairly successful with halibut and king salmon. Uh, and those fish caught Tuesday and Wednesday are in our freezer here in Fairbanks. Uh, 23 pounds of halibut and 18 pounds of king salmon.
Nice. For this trip to Texas, we drove it, and I lease cars. So this time I'm in a BMW 540i, and I got to tell you that it was a very nice ride. I will not explain how fast we got there, but it's supposed to take 17 hours each way, and
Less
it was
than
good.
that.
It might have been less than that, and that's only because of the fact that you go downhill at times, and the as they say in the airplanes, the air was supporting, pushing you a little bit. That might have been an issue as well, but
Yeah.
it was a good trip. I don't, I'm not particularly fond, but we didn't know exactly when we could come back. So, jump in the car, make one stop overnight for the hotel, get to Texas, and then if you come back Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday, whatever it took to come back, we didn't have to worry about trying to hit a plane. So that's why we
Good.
drove it this time. But we're back in Las Vegas, and my own blinds are down so that, and then I put too much light on. I probably should turn some of those off. But we're going to be talking collaborations today,
We
and
went with
what you should know
collaborations.
about this. Mhm.
Oops, sorry. We went with collaborations because Michael and I are both we have been out of it for a little bit, and we wanted something that we could do without too much research. And there are a couple things that I did want to talk about specifically in regards to collaborations because I'm drawing down my number of collaborations, but the quality has gone up, and how do we manage those things and what were the results? So
So some of the, why are we qualified to talk collaborations? Well, the short answer is in general, nobody's actually qualified, but we have had experience in it. I've done probably now 40 plus collaborations, depending on the type and the style, whether it's universe collaborations, series collaborations, um, working backlist collaborations. So we've done a lot of different collaborations, as have you, not only between us, so we can talk about collaborations where it worked between us, but you have had collaborations external for your own company,
mhm, yes,
which is,
and 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 the first question, Kevin J. Anderson was the one who asked this when we talked about collaborations in Bali, is why. You have to be able to answer that question of why you want to do a collaboration, whether it's to make you a better writer, whether it's to increase the volume in your world, then your world building needs to be fairly well established so somebody can come in, or it's uh, a collaboration where you both beat each other's writing up and challenge each other to write differently, write better, write in a way that the readers will accept in a different style. So I haven't done one of those collaborations, even though I've had some great collaborations where we've gone back and forth on the way things should be. I've done a lot of collaborations where it's almost like a mentor student kind of collaboration, even though I don't think I'm in a position to mentor. I do know what my readers like. I've had great conversations with the readers, and I've learned that from Michael because Michael said, "Hey, how about this? What about this?" And the readers came back and offered and made suggestions and engaged. Engaged readers become fans for life, and that's what you want.
Absolutely. So within that, what is the first question, the first of the two items that you spoke about before we got started, related to collaborations you wanted to say?
When I started saying, "Hey, I'm looking for an author to collaborate with me on X," and I had a great offer. Brian King said, "Yes, I love to write post-apocalyptic. I want to come out of zombies and write this." And we did a series, End Days. I wrote End Times Alaska, and that kind of end is a selling point, just like Extreme used to be an '80s selling point. If you wanted to sell a TV show, it had to be something extreme. So we did End Days. And the first month we made like $1,000. And it's like, oh my God, look at how much time of my life I took writing this and how much time we invested, how much money we invested in the covers and things like that. And here we are 4 months later, and it's up to almost $9,000 that we've earned. So you can't judge it right away because it was a damn good book. The first one was it was good. The readers who got it, but the target readership that we're looking for they're waiting for that third book. So we knew it was a viable product, and powered forward with book 2 28 days later, book 3 28 days after that. And then all of a sudden now it really took off. It established a plateau of sales that didn't meander through the highs and lows. And I was surprised by that because I wasn't running a whole lot of ads. I did on the first book right away. I actually spent a lot of money. I spent like $1,000 over a month trying to push that first book while book 2 was just hit. But the big hit on the sales came after book 3, and then book 4 was a total home run because it tied things together and brought it to a pseudo close, even though a lot of feedback says, "Hey, we want to know what happens after." So I'm sure we'll get a book 5. We did get an audio deal. Tantor said, "Hey, we'd love to do these 4 books for you," and so we signed that and got an advance, and that was good too. So the collaborations, it's once you pass that viable product and you know that it's going where it needs to go. Good on us, that one. And we did another collaboration. The second one I wanted to talk about was the Monster Case Files, and 100% on me. I wanted throwback covers because I love Scooby-Doo and I love Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys, but I would read them now because, hey, I love them. So throwback. Got the throwback covers, put great stories behind them, and they didn't sell for crap. I mean, not at all. And later, now that we have 9 books out, we find out that, oh, hey, I didn't pick those up because I thought they were middle grade. I thought they were like for 10-year-olds. It's like, so note to anybody who actually wants to sell books, don't do throwback covers. Do covers that align with exactly what your target market. So I have 17-year-old twins who are solving mysteries as they travel around the country with their parents who lecture, are PhDs and lecture. So it's all good. Just get those covers aligned. So we'll do a relaunch this fall when I have time, the mystical magical time that everybody says, "Hey, I'll have time for that later." But we'll do a relaunch. We'll redo all 9 covers and then put them there. So that collaboration, it was supposed to be 24 books, and we stopped after 9. Well, 8. I wrote the reader magnet that is doing well. It's fine. Just the cover's not aligned. So that one,
let me ask 2
long
questions.
term, it's going to be good. But yeah, Michael, sorry.
2 questions on that. First, how do you think you made the mistake? Because this isn't your first rodeo related to doing covers. And how did you make what would seem like a rookie mistake? And the second one is, oh crap. So where do you think you're going with that? And the fact that you have 8 books to do something with. So it's a backlist. So now you have something to work with. So go ahead.
Okay, making the mistake. Okay, it was a new genre for me. I did a lot of research, and I saw the genre. Okay, a little bit of cartoony style covers. And I'm like, okay, well, I can do this. I can do this, some of the same, but differently. But it was too different, and that was the mistake. And it was a new genre. I expected a number of my readers would come over with me because it was targeting that kind of readership. And those of my readers who did pick it up, who I did convince them, please read this book. It sucks. Its sales suck. And they read it and they're like, oh, hey, I like these characters. I like this. I like the story, even though this isn't what I would normally read. So it's there. It passes minimal viable product, but I threw out the sea anchor on it with the covers because I wanted to appeal to a certain kind of audience like me. Okay, this is
So
my stuff.
There's a
But
sum
also,
total of 12 people who are
yeah.
just like you.
Oh yeah. The one book made $10 in May. The seventh book out. It was pretty grim. The $10. I'll try not to spend it in one place.
30-year return.
So
okay, so now we seem to have lost Craig. I
am
don't
I
know
not
why
here?
we've lost Craig, but I'll stop laughing at his expense here
Oh, okay.
at the moment.
Am I not
So
here?
a few things also on collaborations and things that, you know, are relevant. Personality, you know, these are all things that we talked about in the first one. Layout changed by host. Okay, I have no idea what the
Am I back?
I have this situation going on here. I'm trying to figure out what are you doing, Craig? One moment. High quality stuff. Good thing that the cost of this is appropriate to the response here. And we're not trying to do this as some sort of podcast. Am I back? No,
Oh,
you're
okay.
not back.
Okay.
I should type to Craig at the moment and ask him. I was like, do you just want me to read your answers? You know, it'd be really nice if you were doing something. So on collaborations as well, genre expectations, what kind of feedback? Is there going to be a primary and a secondary of what's going on? And how, you know, what they're doing better. And back one more time. He's going to do anything. I see you, Craig, the camera.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you as well.
Oh, great. Now I can hear myself too. Shit.
Oh, that's what is, man, would you just go ahead and pay the $100,000 to get decent internet up there to save us all this trouble?
My God, yes. But no, I'm okay. I can see you. You can hear me. I can hear me too. So I'll just get those off, and yeah, we'll continue.
Okay, so move this down. Move this down because I hear you twice.
There we go. But I can't.
Wow.
Put those over my ears. Yeah. Let me turn the sound down for me.
Yeah, that would be. Oh, there. Fine. Good.
Okay. So the covers, made a mistake on those. I was going for something a little bit different than what I got, and now I have backlist. I have these books that are available that are good, that are should appeal to an audience. It's just I need to find those covers that will appeal, and then we'll do a full relaunch, and maybe even do enough of a rewrite that the first book will be, we can unpublish it and publish it fresh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good strategy right there on the collaborations. Well, in this case, the collaboration, but pulling it, making it a version 2 so that you have legitimate reason to republish it and get that 30 days, because now you have all the backlist. So if they like book 1, if you hit the right tropes on the covers, you know, they'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because they won't care at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So good strategy on that one. Which was that in your book, by the way? Just curious.
It was alluded to. I didn't hit that fully. So yes, I did talk about backlist, about relaunching, and I'm not sure I mentioned that specifically. I could throw that in as an addendum.
Yeah, you know, it's an ebook. Well, sort of. You can do this. You have the power. So related to the other collaborations, what you're really talking about right there is the fact that sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't. Know your why. In this case, you know, I felt a little bit guilty because I found this particular artist and I said, hey, look, this artist here, and then you put them on the covers. So Whoops. Um, Other collaborations, I liked what you said in the beginning. We were talking about related to the knowing your why, whether or not you're doing it because there's someone who's making money and you don't know what's different about your writing. For instance, we talked about it in the beginning where, um, what I brought to that particular first collaboration was a little bit on the characterization and the talking. As a Marine, I wouldn't have ever thought this was true, but you had to tell your fans at that time there will be more cursing in this particular book, which I still find a little bit humorous. So now you probably have to go, there will be no cursing in these books.
Yeah. These ones are cleaner, and yeah, it's just part of the challenge of appealing to the different audiences. Oh, and one thing also that I didn't mention is pen name on the mystery series that we did.
Mm-hmm.
I put it under a pen name, Misty Forest, and even though I say Misty Forest is me, it's still that didn't bring my readers over. And when I canvassed them last week, that's what they were saying. They're like, "Oh, I didn't know that was you," because if you're browsing really quickly, you see things pop up, new from Craig Martelle, and you see this cover. Oh, that's not him, and move on because your attention span when you get 200 emails a day is half a second. So it needs to resonate. I think I will do away with those pen names, the C.H. Gideon as well as Craig, as well as Misty Forest, and just put my name on the cover, even though I'm on for some nonfiction, as well as science fiction, as well as these
Mm-hmm.
cozies, pseudo cozies, we'll call
Mm-hmm.
them. I think we just need to sell me, and that's the Robert Heinlein model. He didn't write; he wrote some series, but he wrote a lot of standalones. Andre Norton, same thing. Always sold. Andre Norton sold. Her name was the brand. Robert Heinlein, his name was the brand, and that's uh, if you're doing a series, you're trying to sell that series because it's easier to sell 10 books to one person than it is to sell 10 books to 10 different people. So you can take advantage of that, but still, as you get and build your backlist, your name then becomes the selling point, and that's
Okay, but what
I think I'll rebrand with my name as opposed to C.H. Gideon or Misty Forest.
now? So Andre Norton, and I only do this because I know someone's going to go look this up. So Norton had two pen names. They were Andrew North and Alan Weston. And so, just a situation where, yeah, we know Andre Norton. We don't know Andrew North or Alan. I have never heard of those two, you know. And so we've been internally on collaborations. Martha Carr and I have a collaboration with the pen name of Judith Behrens. And part of the reason that we looked at doing that was because it seemed like from our experience at the time that dual names on the covers was something that caused friction with people buying the book. That they really, it's just whether fans did not like two names on the covers. And so our choices obviously are then one of us goes on the cover and then one of us gets attached, or we create a pen name that's joint. And Martha and I decided to do Judith Behrens, and then we're attached to it. Now that particular name, certainly as we push, has become known for itself, right? Um, Michael Todd is a pen name of mine, and I've had a fan talk before where they're like, I had read Michael Anderle for nothing but a year, so I decided to go try something else. I tried this Michael Todd, and at the end, I read the author notes and found out it was Michael Anderle. And so, different experiences happen with collaborations with the names themselves. I'm glad you brought that up on the pen name and deciding how to do it. Just remember that in in collaborations, if you're in Kindle Unlimited and you're wanting that Kindle Unlimited bonus, that a collaboration, let's say it's Michael Anderle and Craig Martelle, is one author to the Kindle Unlimited bonus. Whereas Michael Anderle is a person, Craig Martelle is a person. When we're joint, that's a person. If we created a pen name, that's a person. And so you're actually taking your amount of Kindle Unlimited pages themselves and you're, reducing them down across all of these different names. So just be aware of that in what you do. Most people, if you go through the 20 books Facebook group and you just read about it, pen names are a lot of effort. Not having a pen name has a good name, reason. But it is one of those items that, from a business standpoint, it takes a lot of decision what to do, because if we hear Lindsay Broker talk about it. She's got a pen name, and she might, work 4, 5, 6 months under Lindsay Broker, and the pen name goes down very small because she hasn't put anything fresh into that pen name. And then she'll do the pen name, and then of course Lindsay Broker will go down a little bit. So it takes a lot of effort to multiply that name, have enough releases for it.
You bet. Separate Facebook page. I bought the websites, CH Gideon, Misty Forest, and just trying to keep all of that up is a significant challenge because it's a whole new persona. Even if you connect it, and I've told everybody this is me, and still it's a challenge to bring those readers on board. The one name I think Craig Martelle sells better than CH Gideon, even though Super Dreadnought sold well. It's still, I think, as a brand, I need to be more focused on me as the brand, and as opposed to the series and selling and trying to sell those, because it's just a significant effort for the 3 different names. And my nonfiction, one thing Mark Dawson does is he uses his middle initial on his nonfiction, and Mark Dawson just without the middle initial on his fiction. And that's one way to not have to hassle with a pen name, but still have that separation through Amazon.
And so I didn't realize this until relatively recently, but CH actually stands for your first and middle name.
Yeah.
So
and Gideon is my confirmation name from when I was in Catholic school.
Okay, well, there you go. So I had no idea. I didn't realize that until much later that's how you created that pen name.
Yeah. I created that pen name back in 8th grade.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Good to know. And what's the story behind Misty Forest?
Oh, just the watching various TV shows, you see that weather forecasters on TV all have names, Stormy, somebody, or Rain or Shine, I like from Modern Family, and they all have a name. It's like, okay, this is storm or weather related. And I'm like, oh, Misty Forest. If you want to talk mysteries, why not?
Oh, okay. Something I was being a little humorous, I thought, and your reply was much more adept.
Yeah. In the misty forest, you'll see ghosts.
Oh, cool.
And demons. Yeah, that's all. It was. I thought about it and worked about it, but just I wanted to make something mystery related as opposed to Rain or Shine, the meteorologist.
So on collaborations, what do you think it takes to have a collaboration go a long time? Because even though indie publishing has probably been around 10 years, and there's multiple waves of us as we grew in indie publishing and became a much more mature society or group, still to have collaborations. I mean, you and I have now collaborated from 2016, 17. We're 3 years, and it's 3 years doesn't sound like a lot. But when you're talking 100 books, 150 books, we've put out a lot of product. What do you think it takes in order for the fact that our collaboration has worked?
I think just like Rush, the band, they do interviews with those guys now, and they've been a band for over 40 years, and they say, well, we genuinely like each other. I think the best collaborations are people who like each other, and not just it's a mutually advantageous business position, because as soon as it becomes non-mutually advantageous, people go their own way. And now you have the hard side of collaborations, which is what do you do when it goes south? For us, it's easy because we've written books. It's like, oh, damn, we don't have a contract. So let's do a contract and get that on track. I mean, for our heirs, especially since I'm almost dying every other month. We'll try to avoid and forestall that as long as possible.
It'll be appreciated.
But it helps that you genuinely like each other, and then you could do whatever you need to do. You could take care of the legal stuff if you consider your heirs. For right now, yes, it makes it work. Just make sure we don't forget to do this contract by next week or whatever it is. Otherwise, I would always say have a contract up front and do that with a term I use is intentionality. Know why you're doing the collaboration. I was doing it because Michael asked a marine post-apocalyptic, which I love to write. So I got to write something I love to write for an audience that was pre-established, working with a guy who was able to connect with that audience. So it was an opportunity for me to learn, but also write something I love. And then, of course, I got to know Michael a lot better, and we've spent some time together and eaten an awful lot at various stages.
What kind of sucked is the whole thing when you were giving me, like the compliments. All I hear is up, eep, up, and then he did up, oop, up. It's like, no, come on, it's a compliment. I'll take it.
Yeah. Sorry if I broke up. I'm doing the best I can with the internet I have. It was mutually advantageous, and it was like, let's look at the business of this, and then that's where I think we really clicked, is we both have that business sense of, here's what we're trying to do with the business of these books. Let's write a great book, but oh, by the way, now put on your different hat, and it becomes a business discussion, and that's where you can really go in depth and find out how to make this work for everybody. So we've done a lot of different things in regards to the business part of it. For the collaborations, and this is one thing, what happens when they go south? And that's, I've had some collaborations where I never published the book because it was going south too fast. I'm like, this is going to be way too painful. I've lost some collaborators, and now I'm in a position where I'm forced to write the next book in that series, and that is extremely painful because that was not on my plan to write the sixth and the seventh, or the seventh and eighth books in a series. So you have to be aware of what happens when you start to go your own way and have maybe creative differences or business differences. And this is one thing, you have to have that trust, because Michael publishes, so all the money goes to Michael's account, and I trust that he's going to pay me what I earn for stuff. If you don't have that trust, you're going to have a real hard time. Hey, you need to share your screen with me. You need to share book report with me. You need to show me your. Oh my God! If you're having that kind of conversation, then you're going to have real problems. Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
So there are a few companies out there that are trying to fix that particular issue, whether it's Draft to Digital or Publish Drive, and there's one or two others that I can think about who are trying to help it. I mean, internally, what we do in our company right now, because none of those work for us because we're all KU, is that we'll take screenshots. We'll do the book report, and like every couple of weeks, we send them, because obviously book report is not totally accurate. It's off plus or minus a little bit, but it gives a really good feeling of, hey, they understand where they're at right now. And so that if you're going to be the one who's the primary in the collaborative relationship, you're taking on a lot more responsibility. And I mentioned before, when we started the collaborations real early in the career with LMBPN, that we had wives of the collaborators going, why are they going to pay you this money? So just expect it. You're an unknown quantity. Now we're a known quantity, so people can, talk to others behind the scenes and go, do they really pay you? But when you're first starting out, how are you going to confirm that? How are you going to alleviate that concern? Because it is natural. Even if it's $150, that $150 could be the electrical bill or something. Yeah. And so that becomes very personal. And be aware that if you're not a person who wants to be, tapped on the shoulder, or you don't have the infrastructure to do it, don't be the primary, or don't do collaborations in the first place. We all of us here who are writing have a certain personality, whether it's you like to lean into the writing side, you like to be right down the middle with the writing and the publishing because you want to control your own destiny, or you want to focus, for whatever you prefer, the publishing side, and then you want to be involved in the creative as well, or you just want to be a publisher. I mean, but so what is it and what are you going to bring? But today's new future for us here in Indiaville is that we have to create new relationships, new collaborations. What used to happen isn't always going to happen in the future. So what used to happen to medium-sized publishers is they would get big enough and then they would acquire another publisher. It gets very difficult to grow your own brand. I can explain that, but it's a bifurcation of the fans of what's going on and trying to get them to focus on anything that you're doing. And so it's a lot easier to grow by acquisition. And so we're doing this a little bit differently ourselves. But you can acquire new IP or you can build new IP through collaborations. We're going into Southern Gothic horror, and this is not something that's my personal, but I happen to be speaking with someone who really wants and enjoys what LMBPN has built. So we're looking at, and it's not, we're not acquiring them, but based on the new structure of how things go, we're bringing all of their stuff into LMBPN. So that's similar, but not an acquisition. And we're going to build them up, and see what's going on. So collaborations are not just either one author and another author doing it in a series. That's the easiest, most simple, I think. Fair enough. And then you can do collaborations at the universe level where someone is taking a primary. We've done that as well. You have collaborations at the business level, which is something that Craig and I have done, where we move forward and we understand that we're working at the business level and we're doing things underneath. You have, so collaborations is a much broader concept than typically what we talk about in collaborations. And I think that, some of you that might be listening to this either now or in the future, you're going to look at it from the standpoint of being a publisher. And as a publisher, what does collaboration mean? What is your opportunity to be there? We've seen how humanity and business works in new industries as the new industries become, go from babies to toddlers, teenagers, and so on. And we're in that. But consolidation is one of the steps that happens. And it's consolidation in the trad pub has happened. That's why we have like the big four, the big five trad pub publishers today, $2.2 billion. And we're an infinitesimally small part of that. But it doesn't mean that we aren't now, with this new mode, aren't going through the same thing ourselves. And so just be aware that when you're thinking collaborations, there's a fun but chancy future out there with what's going on. We have many companies that are working on the problems that we have right now with collaborations, with paying people. That's going to get solved. And from what I can see, it looks like it'll get solved in the next 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
And when that happens, now all of a sudden, those who didn't want to do the math won't have to worry about it as much. And where does that operate? It means that the trust level is going to be easier to surmount. Like 3 years ago, people had to trust me that I was going to do what I said I did. And we had to build processes. Well, just like it was harder for people to get into this 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it's going to be easier in the future, but that still leaves a lot of the emotional stuff. Who's going to do what? Why are they going to do it? And just be aware of what's coming down the path of our future in indie publishing, collaborations, and everything else.
It goes to the contract. Make sure you set out your roles and responsibilities up front. And as I'm working on the collaborations book, I will have a number of sample contracts from the simple to the complex, because that's probably one of the single greatest foundations. Because if you had to enforce your contract in court, it would suck. It would be painful. It would be expensive. But laying those responsibilities out up front and people signing to them, when people sign their names, generally they are willing to comply. You have some turds out there that are going to go their own way, but most people will play nice. It's just when you're writing 90% of the words and then you see the series take off and you're thinking, geez, I should be paid more. You've got this contract. You agreed to and that's the risk reward, the responsibility. Hey, I don't have to worry about this part of it. I don't have to worry about this part. I can find readers that are there. And that's why TradPub, a lot of people are willing to take 10 cents on the dollar, because they're like, I can't reach this market at all. I can write this book and I can go try to market it and sell 10 copies. Or I can sell 1,000 copies and I get paid as if I sold 100, which is more than I was going to get anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did with my End Times Alaska series. We sold that to a traditional publisher, and they give me money, and I still market it now. But originally, I had no idea what I was doing, and they were able to sell a lot of copies, and I made a lot more than what I was going to myself. Long term, well, yeah, I would have made more, especially once I became me. But I didn't become me until after that trad up, and I got that kind of exposure, especially in the post-apocalyptic world. So I gained some followers, and I expanded my offering, and also stayed prolific. I wrote a lot of books. So the collaborations that expanded my backlist, a lot of those were work for hires I paid up front. So now long term, if they are long term winners, well then that's all long term for me. Even though I did include a bonus clause in every one of my contracts. So if it gets $1 million movie deal or something like that, I will pay 10% to the work for hire person who did the writing, because I mean they carried the burden of the time. They committed somewhat to the relationship, even though they took the money up front, which I'm good with. I mean, it's all in the contract. So collaborations don't necessarily have to be, hey, 50-50, let's share the pain. They can be, we can share the long-term win too.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting aspect of it, and that is collaborations have multiple reasons for it. And we've stated that, but specifically the work for hire part of it is you can have a writer who needs money today. Right now, I need to pay bills. I need to put, baby food on the table. I need to do these things. And you're allowing them to have a life and get paid and accept no risk whatsoever, because whoever's the other side of that collaborative relationship is the one who's paying and taking all risk. Now, when you take all risk, no different than in the stock market, you also get all the gains. And some people are absolutely, because of personality or other reasons, are really good with that. And it about 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, we had a whole issue that went through the indie sphere about work for hire, ghostwriters, same thing, and it creates a lot of emotions that are around it. But the reality is, these things, ghostwriters, work for hires, have been around for decades, hundreds of years. It's not new. And that's maybe the one thing is I keep searching history of what's going on in the publishing area. And there's a great book for this. But if you keep searching, you're going to find out everything we've gone through has already been done. The only reason that a different choice was made was the distribution mechanism available at the time was different. We're kind of at the point where there might have been massive horse and buggies and the new cars are coming out and everything's going to change. And it's not changing around the world at the same speed it's changing here in America. So we tend to think that ebooks and everything else are around the world, and it's not. We study multiple countries. We're in Germany. We're in Central and South America in Spanish. We're in German. We're looking at China. And so we've gone through Spain and looked into bookstores to see what's going on. We understand Waterstones out of UK. It's looking like they're buying Barnes and Noble. I mean, pay attention. If that's interesting to you, pay attention to what's going on, because there's a lot of wisdom that you can glean from what's already gone on in the past. And I realize that's not on collaborations, but I will put it this way. If you're someone who loves to write and the business side of things isn't your forte, if you don't get with a collaborative person to at least talk to, then you're going to get caught with your pants down, and the genres are going to change. And what you were making really good money, you won't for a few months, and now you're going to go, what's going on? So work with it, whether it's collaborative just from sharing of knowledge or whatever it's going on. Be aware, because I don't want you to get out there and be buying homes and doing other things, which you can do, and then next thing you know, that stuff's not there.
Yeah. Well, and that's work for hire. And there's one subtle difference between the ghostwriters and work for hire. The work for hire people, their names are on the cover, and that's ghostwriters have a tendency not to get named. That they actually wrote the initial draft or parts of the draft, whatever it might be. So but getting paid now, you're a writer, and can you do without money for 3 months? Most people can answer that pretty strongly, saying no, I cannot. So work for hire. I can write. I can make a few nickels, and the bonus. I know we do a variety of them where we'll throw some money out, or just advanced royalties. We're at that position, both of us in our careers, that we could throw out just advanced royalties. We're doing a profit share, but here's an extra 1,500. Hopefully that'll see you through. Because one thing I hate is seeing a damn good writer give up writing because I can't feed family, and that's I know we both helped folks to get where they need to go, but also the quid pro quo is you need to keep writing. write good stories and keep jamming. Don't take the money and then say, well, you know what, I've been thinking of getting out of writing. And I've had that happen, and that sucked moose balls. Just here, I'm willing to take your money, but I was considering not writing anymore. So bye. Thank you, Dick Face. I'm sorry I said that. No name calling. That's right. I'll kick myself out of 20 books at 50K. But so collaboration, you have good and you have bad. You have opportunity. Staying in touch, staying in contact, and this is one thing Michael's extremely good about. Calling me when I'm in the bathroom. I don't answer. So when I don't answer you, be happy that I don't.
I did not know this. More stuff I wish was actually kept by you silent.
Michael calls me probably 5 times a week, and that is, as far as collaboration, you can't ask for better than that. Staying in touch, staying in contact, talking about some simple plot points. It only has to be a minute or two. And I know raging introverts say, oh man, somebody knocked at the door. Oh my God, it's the end of days. No, it's you're collaborating. You look at the business, you look at the story, don't look at each other, and just say, hey, here's what we're doing, here's this, because then your partnership will work much better. And that's look at it, collaboration, partnership. I see them as synonyms, but whatever word works best for you, so you understand and accept that this is the role. And if I'm going to write 100% of the words, hey, that's good. Accept that ahead of time and just do it. Sign your contract and forth from there. And then each person fills their role and do what you can to make it work. I'm reading through the comments.
Are there any questions out there? Otherwise, I get to stare at your lovely forehead. Things that make me go,
Yeah, not disappointing people. And that's when you respect your collaborator. That's also, hey, I'm trying to write a better story, so you can say, yes, this is, stop bobbing your head up and down. Okay. That's you've obviously never talked to me in person. That's me. That's how I talk. I'll try not to, so I don't mess with the video. If you respect the person you're working with, you're probably going to work harder for them. And if they give you some props, hey, nice story, I like this, then you'll work harder. Positive reinforcement is a great motivator. Yes, 100% success. You got to plan for that. You got to plan for 100% failure. And that's one thing in the collaborations book I'll put in is the contract. As a lawyer, I always look for the remedies clause first. What if something fails? How are you going to fix it? And this is one of the problems I have with the Amazon contract, even though, yes, I signed it. And I did see that in a court case, they found it unenforceable. The mandatory arbitration clause, if you, they have to have a way to opt out of it. And if you opt out, it's buried so far in legalese that you can't get there from here. So one company just had that, and they buried it. You have to send in a written. You can't send it in email. You have to actually put a stamp on it and do it in writing, saying I opt out of your mandatory arbitration clause. So little things like that. So you got to, what is the remedy? How do you fix it if it's broken? And that is probably your biggest safety valve. Guys,
yeah. So
see any?
I can think of, well, while you're looking at that real quick, I'll toss this in. So I've been approached a few times in the last 12 months related to people who want to collaborate with me because they feel that their story, which is not something we typically talk in 20 books, but the actual writing itself, what is it that I'm doing different than what they're doing? And a lot of times, and these are people who have half a dozen books out or 12 books, it's not like they're brand new whatsoever, which I probably would not do for the most part because I don't need to. It's kind of like when you're teaching somebody how to use a program and they don't know how to use Windows. So first you have to teach them Windows, then how to do the program. And I just don't have the time for that. So, but in talking with the people, I would say invariably it's probably only 15 to 25% of a change, and all the other stuff they're doing fine. It's usually some concept that they're like, oh, I get that now, or as I go down, it's allowing them to see and honestly to tell them, no, you don't have to follow that rule. This particular rule that everybody claims is important isn't. And I can tell you from my experience of being very successful, it's not necessary. And that liberates them a lot of times. So that's what a collaborator might be able to accomplish for you, especially if they come from a different ability of saying what has worked and give you the necessary, you're okay to go do this. You don't need another collaborator to be there. Honestly, I never needed it because I ignored them anyway, but that's my personality. I didn't like what I was seeing. I went off and did something else I wanted to do, and therefore success also happened. And I can say with authority, no, you don't have to. Now you're still going to piss off a few people who are like, oh, you must do it this way. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't. But I can then allow the collaborators I'm working with to go through the story and explain to them what's different about what they're doing. One individual approached me last year at 20 Books, Rami, who now is doing Edinburgh, and he's probably regretting that a lot.
Yeah, he is. Because now that he's successful, he needs the time to write and do other stuff. It's like, hey, man, welcome. I said, are we having fun yet? He's like, oh, yeah, always. I didn't feel it. He said it, I didn't feel it.
And if you know Rami, his hair is like all his crazy, like he put his finger in the light socket, and his eyes and everything. And it's hilarious. But we'll be there as well. But that's another type of collaboration, right? I'm going to always try to keep pulling this back into what the title of this talk was about. But in the collaboration, in the last 12 months, talking with people and realizing that I can affect their story in such a way that fans connect to it a lot better. And I have had someone tell me who teaches writing for a living, so they're good, but that, basically 6 weeks with me talking, working through this stuff, and he had to go back and change stuff a lot. He's like, it's been more helpful to me than pretty much any class. It all makes sense. And it's like, it's the difference between intellectually understanding something and then really understanding it.
Yeah.
And so know your why that you're going in there for. And so that's just kind of on the last part of collaborations. I think we could speak more to the publishing side of things, the business side of things, but we'll take those in either Edinburgh or 20 Books Vegas. And there'll be a time that I'm going to be talking with people at like 10 o'clock at night or something, because I want those that are really willing to be there. If I'm going to be there at 10 o'clock at night, then I want someone willing to sacrifice. So a lot of cool things. We just got notified Publishers Weekly will be at 20 Books Vegas. So, we're pulling there. I spoke with Apple a couple of weeks ago in New York. We don't have any confirmation, but we know that they do have a new person who was hired over from a certain ladies, Harry something or another company. And so she is now part of Apple, and she's going to be responsible for working with us to push the Apple, more of what they're doing. So that they kind of pulled in a couple years ago, but they're actively seeking to be more available and more infrastructure. So those who are wide, congratulations. Those who are considering it, just know that Apple wants you, and they're putting more people and more effort into it. What else do you got?
Oh, 20 Books Vegas. We have so many people. Oh, my goodness. Christine Catherine Rush, I've been talking to her over the last week. I think she's on 5 different panels. She's like, more. And Dean Smith, same thing. Dean Leslie Smith. So you will see a lot of those guys over the 3 days. Kevin J. Anderson, Rebecca Mesta, a number of other people, just like Publishers Weekly. The
John Truby?
John Truby will be there. Terry Tatchell of District 9 fame. So many good people. And some trad pub authors, you may not recognize their names because they're coming indie. And or you may recognize their names, but now they're coming indie and they're new because they never ever worried about marketing or any of that other stuff. They just wrote the books. But now as trad pub draws back and doesn't give advances like they used to, now these people's income is gapped for 1 to 2 years, and they can't live that way because instead of getting an advance every January for 1 or 2 books, They now don't get that advance, and if they earn out, now they might get another check. But if they don't earn out the advance, then they're done. And as we talked about earlier, people can't go 2 to 3 months with no money. It's a challenge. So a lot of those folks are looking at indie, and I think we're going to see a lot more of them come over, especially as Michael has gone out around the world and made contacts through like Book Expo America or London Book Fair, and met those folks who are great writers, mid-list kind of writers, but now left hanging because they don't no longer provide the revenue for the traditional publishers like they used to. Yeah. So look for great stories. Look for LMDPN picking up some of those folks to write. I have no doubt, especially as the backlist and licensing of IP happens. So.
Yeah, the licensing expo might be something to try to talk to, and we'll see if Judith would be willing to get up this early to talk about it. But the licensing expo was really fantastic here, and the reason we knew about it was Christine Catherine Rush. Chris mentioned it in a blog post a year ago that she had gone to it. I flipped that conversation over to Judith, and then Judith, unbeknownst to me, had reached out to Chris. Judith had no idea who Christine was, not a clue, but she just happened to mention to it and said, "Hey, let's do lunch." And so Judith comes to me and says, "Hey, we're going to have lunch with Christine." I'm like, "Christine Catherine Rush?" She's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Uh-huh." And her husband, Dean Wesley Smith, I think she said she's got a +1. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm about to be a +1 with Dean Wesley Smith. And so from that conversation, that lunch, because they moved to Vegas a little over a year and a half ago or so. And, but it was about the licensing expo, and it is amazing. That is a multi-billion dollar industry. And so we went it, we walked it. We're going to, we had to get out of town because of the move, selling the house, but we're going to be back there again next year. We're going to be a lot more. We reached out, we found contacts for new IP. There was a company that was doing, they're doing figures, and these are tall figures, and a very Red Sonja looking character. We're very vampire blood. And I talked to the individual, and so we're going to look about connecting because he's got great ideas, and we've got the ability to take his great ideas and great characters and put them into stories. And he's actually out of South America, I think Brazil. And this is just from going to a licensing expo. We spoke to another group. This person represents a bunch of artists, and it was really fantastic because I wish I could remember her name, but we're there, we're talking to the guy who represents the artist. He's trying to license their images, right? And it could be to anything. It could be t-shirts, posters. It doesn't really matter. He's just trying to license their stuff. And so I was trying to express to him that I felt like there would be an opportunity here between our publishing capabilities and his licensing and the artist and everything, recognizing how important covers are, right? And he mentioned one of his artists and then he called her, and she was actually cat a corner across the way, and she comes over, and then she recognized me, from these conversations we have right here. And it first, thank you very much. It was really pleasant to be recognized whatsoever. That was a great edification for my ego. But also just from the fact that we're making a difference in 20 books. We're helping people who are artists that are, putting their stuff into books. And it's more than just fiction. You have coloring books and other things that are happening and people involved in this. And so just realize that there's a lot out there that you can move into adjacent opportunities to what's going on, whether you're an artist that can connect with a writer, whether you're an artist that can now make coloring books, which is what I believe she did. And, going to these different conferences that, you're creating IP, you're creating characters. I spoke to a gentleman who'd spent $75,000 on 6 comic books, and his purpose wasn't to sell them. It was to give them away in reference to his product, his models. So you can imagine how much money he must have been making. And I did not ask, but how much money he must have been making to plug in $70-something thousand into comic books in order to give them away. And so there's a big future out there. It's adjacent to us. Be aware of it, get excited about it, understand it, collaborate with somebody if it's something you can't do.
Collaborations again. And as building that mid-list publisher model, Michael's been building infrastructure for 3 years now. Once you realize that hey, if I write a book a month, that I need to do all these other things. I need to have editing capability. And what about a book a week? And what about a book a day? So all of that, you may think, oh, that's insane. It's not really. It's simply building a business around publishing. And then it became Productions, Michael Anderle Productions, which is an approach to then bringing content to a voracious readership. And then what does that, even the non-voracious, those people who read a book a month, how do we get a book into their hands? What does that look like? And that's what a lot of the traditional publishing, a book that Michael made me buy and read, I saw that in there. That finding those readers and making sure you feed those readers that if you're going to read a book a month, I want them to read my book, or I want them to read this book. And then they find that, hey, I like that. Oh, they have 2 a month. And then you start pushing an envelope of what are they willing to then commit to in regards to time. And I saw that, and I put that in the collaborations or the release strategies book about Metal Legion. Military science fiction, 80,000 word books, they couldn't consume them in 2 weeks. Even though I have the readers, I got the readers. It's just they needed a month to get through the book, even though they liked it. So it was just a mistiming and misalignment with a new readership. Because my core readership, Michael's core readership, is they'll read 5 books a week. A retired group that, hey, this is what they do. They've got Kindle Unlimited, and that's their entertainment. And good on them. Great. I appreciate them reading. I appreciate them reviewing. But to expand readers, and our target is 100,000. We want 100,000 readers to buy a book when it first comes out. And how do you get there? And that's we've been working on that for 3 years, and we'll continue to work on that.
Absolutely. And in Vegas, hopefully I'll have some more answers, but I also moved to a concept called touch points. And so something that we can discuss next week, I believe we're going to be able to talk. I think I'm back from Tucson. I'm going to the Western Writers Conference, which is going to be totally new for me. And as Craig asked, he goes, do you have your cowboy hat? I said, no, but Judith brought her like black cowboy Harley Davidson hat, and I'm going to have to sit there with a baseball cap or something. I'm going to be completely inappropriately dressed. But I'm looking really forward to meeting these gentlemen because a lot of them have been in the industry for 30, 40, 50 years. And I'll say it again, I love talking to people who've been around, been there, done that, because I can always learn something. Always learn something.
Well, in the Western, it's a huge audience, huge market. Mike Bray is doing a great job feeding that market.
Wolfpack Publishing, shout out to them. Wolfpack Publishing, shout out to Mike Bray for being willing to share some of the things he knew and he learned. And he came to 20 Books Vegas, although, frankly, he only lives a mile away from Samstown. It's not like, but Craig connected also. And he's become a great friend as well as a mentor and things I'm learning that he's done. And he came from an internet marketing background, frankly. And we connected a little bit about that because I actually have some of that, but he does some stuff that's just amazing. He's really open. If you get a chance, connect with him at 20 Books Vegas. And I think you'll be really pleased with what you can learn from him.
All kinds of people, 20 Books Vegas, 1,000 people will be there and then some. So it is going to be a great show with it's going to be one of those that will overwhelm your senses. Just prepare for that. But what you can do is you can isolate yourself, find a small group, and not try to connect with all 1,000 people before you leave. Just understand that you won't. If you are, well, then good effort on you. But most of us are introverts, and we'll be in smaller groups. So find the speakers. If somebody speaks, you can talk to them afterwards. Just not leave the bathrooms are off limits, of course. But anywhere else. We're going to own the hotel, and then we do have some news that we will share about 20 Books 2020. As that is, I'm fixing to sign the contract on that one. Everything has fallen into place. I think we're in a good position in regards to getting what we want at the price we want. So I'm not giving out anything ahead of time because we don't want people reserving hotel rooms outside of the block because you can't. We block everything, so no reservations possible until we reveal. So But it'll be Vegas 2020. I think November 10th to 12th, the Tuesday to Thursday again. We'll make it a full week. I'll be there Saturday to Saturday, probably as I am this year.
So one thing, and we can finish with this, but one thing about the 20 books that we keep harping on, it is basically free. It's nonprofit. If you wish to, we're gonna stream everything free. So if we're streaming everything free, what is stopping you? Because we don't care, except for the fact that you can't take our brand, blah, blah, blah. But we don't care if you get together with some friends in Bangkok, in London, and stream some of this. Now, mind you, it's on American time. I recognize that. But have your own little BarCon, get creative, people. 20 books is there. I mean, Las Vegas can hold multiple millions of people in the hotel. I have a much bigger vision for 20 books and what it is, but it is about changing lives by expressing how to make your own money because you went and did something. As Craig will say a lot of times when he's on there, it's about work. It's about doing the job. It's about continuing when you don't think you continue any further. But it can change your lives. I've got nothing to sell you. I don't. I'm going to go sell fiction. That's my purpose. But 20 books and all of the people that help there, whether it's Craig as being the primary admin and all of the secondary admins, they're there to help you because they want to give, because they're helping change lives in what they do. And we love everybody for it. There's, we have no other reason, so please enjoy it. BarCons, if you want to make those, make it happen. A BarCon is effectively you go to the place and you go to the bar and talk to people without actually going to the convention itself. Now, mind you, I don't know that that's going to be how possible that'll be when we own the whole damn hotel. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Yeah, so for me, I'll say goodbye first. But go ahead, Craig.
We do have an action item to ask them to keep the bar open in the atrium area.
Yes.
Through 3 a.m. You can go get 2 or 3 hours of sleep before the 8 a.m. session. And I did have to back it down to 8 a.m. I wanted a 9 a.m. start today. So many quality sessions. We even have some round tables set aside as well. There's just so much going
on. Ingram met with them in BEA, so Ingram is going to be there.
Good.
So it's pretty amazing. And Ingram's relationships came through Mike Bray. He's the one who actually knew these people and knew them well and understood what's going on. And at first, Ingram, the contact that he had, he assumed that we were cheating people. He couldn't figure out. He was looking at it, he goes, this is too cheap. What's the catch? Nobody is allowed. What really threw a couple of individuals is there's no place for other companies to come and invest and support gold members, a platinum. And he's not sure what, that's just not plausible. I was like, nope. And that's really, we spoke about it the first year and Craig and I agreed to do it. But ever since then, Craig, I'd have to give it to you that you no, not happening.
Yeah, we don't accept sponsors. Nobody gets to hang out a banner and make it look like they are part of 20 books to 50K. They're all welcome. And here's 1,000 authors that you can talk to. But we're not letting anyone sell their brand ahead of others. Now, that being said, there are some industry folks that we believe are doing right by indies. And those are the ones who have a platform who will be on stage, like Publish Drive, like Kobo, Drafted Digital, even Amazon. We wouldn't be where we are without Amazon. Apple does not want to share stage with others, so we respect their.
That's corporate. And just to be clear, that's a corporate mandate that they only allow certain people for the company to talk.
That's right. And it's only like 3. And seriously, so a company that size, it's Tim Cook and like 2 or 3 others, and that's it. Nobody else gets to speak for the company. So that's why they won't be up there. But Book Funnel will be there. Damon Courtney is always a big a friend to us. Folks that listen to the needs of indies and flex. Like one thing Drafted Digital is doing is breaking out payments. So if you're wide and you go through Drafted Digital and you have a 70-30 collaboration of 50-50, they will break out some of those payments separately. Whereas Amazon doesn't at present. You have to go through Bundle Rabbit or somebody like that who then do it for you. But it changes the dynamic over top when you publish for yourself. So all kinds of different things and different ways to go about the business. And 20 Books Vegas, you have a Kobo question, just talk to Kobo. And there you are. What about Walmart? What are the sales figures showing? What are they? Hey, corner them, buy them a beer, and talk to them. Or wine.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what
Christy is a wine person, I think.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. So
And that's how
we're
you
looking
get
at
contests is after enough wine.
or on her side. So we look forward to it. We look forward to seeing you. We want you to know that if you can't make it, do something local. There's no reason not to. Find some people local in your group because we're all here. We're all climbing the mountain. I do firmly believe that, the rising tide will lift all boats because if we can, it's entertainment. Craig mentioned it before. And if we can take somebody and move their entertainment from watching TV over to reading a book, we've all gained another reader. So,
Yep.
And I just want to, one thing I think about is, we talk about J.K. Rowling because it's one of those things that is like, you know what, I can go after her and then I never worry about other people getting above me or below me because my sight is on J.K. Rowling, right? But one thing that J.K. Rowling is doing for the rest of us is every single year, another few million boys and girls become readers because she is getting them at that young age and she's making them readers. And so any of you that are doing middle grade, young, any of them, my hat's off to you because eventually they will get into the age and they will have already been readers when they hit my books. And I appreciate what you do.
Indeed. Thanks everybody for listening. This will be available on the videos at any point in time on 20 Books to 50K. Just go to the video tab and pull this one up, and it'll be available on YouTube in a little bit. Thanks to Ann Lown and Elaine Bateman. They cut them over to YouTube and put them on our channel. So thank you very much. I hope you got something out of it. I'm sorry I called somebody a dick face, but not kind of really. That's me being private with Michael, and you're all listening in. So there we are. Some more on collaborations. I am working on a book. I'll probably be working on that in Edinburgh and publish it before Vegas. We already have the cover. That's one thing, and we have a good brand on the covers, so they align and it works. And I hope release strategy is working for you. That you're able to look through and say yes, no. I'm sorry I didn't include more wide, but I didn't have the information to confirm this is how that works. If you go wide, I think some of the principles are universal, but some of the others I just don't know, and I didn't want to speak on something I didn't know. So I should have said release strategies mostly for Amazon. So that's really what they are. But Amazon, 85% of the market, so it covers most of it. All right, man.
All right, take care, people.